For me to say such things, to feel such things. So baby, when me say it, I ask, can me feel some things? Me feel something. It's so unusual for me to say such things, to feel such things. So baby, when me say it, I ask, can me feel some things? Me feel something.
One day I love you alongside.
Baby, baby, baby,
I can be
yeah.
a light in the sunshine.
Baby.
Hi guys, come on, quick. I have a very quick story to tell you. Good afternoon, Daphne. Good afternoon. I love you too. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Rafaela, I recognize your comment. I see everyone's comment actually. Good afternoon. I just want to encourage someone, especially towards the spirit of rejection, which was mostly my biggest, I'd say it was my biggest, I don't want to record this being emotional. Come in. So I've been having a lot of questions being asked, who's my spiritual father, how I started ministry and everything, probably because of how my ministry is, but I just want to clear a few errors. Yes, I'm coming to Zimbabwe. I'm coming to Zimbabwe on Friday. So I just want to talk about a few things that I need to clarify. Not only that, I just want to speak about the spirit of rejection and how it affected me as a young woman of God, in ministry. So a lot of people don't know where I came from. Yeah, Guraf, young Kindo, we are still because of your teaching. Guraf kakul, kunzima. But I'm just here to tell you that you see that verse that says the rejected stone shall become a cornerstone. That verse doesn't lie. That verse doesn't what? It doesn't lie. And for me, my principle as a human being is never, ever look down upon anybody. Never look down upon who? Anybody in this life. Even the most biggest aircraft, aircraft must have a place to what? To land. And that landing must be on the what? On the ground. You will never ever fly sky high forever. I just want to tell you a bit of a story when it comes to me and ministry. And when I tell you that rejection is real. When I tell you that rejection is real, but trust me, God is realer, isn't it? Because he loves the ones that are totally rejected. So I'm going to ask, number one, I'm going to answer this question of, does Prophetess has a spiritual father? No, I don't. I don't have. And I'm going to tell you that when God graces you, his grace is sufficient to protect you and to guide you. I don't have a problem with people that are mentored, that have spiritual fathers. That's okay. But I'm going to tell you my story, why I don't have a spiritual father. Many people are going to ask that, why, woman of God, didn't you, how can I say? How did you make it in ministry? How did, all of a sudden, were you able to do this, to do that, to this? Let me tell you something. When I started ministry 3 years ago, 3 years ago, when I started, I looked for mentorship. Even the most biggest men of God, even if they can watch this live, they know she's not lying. I looked for mentorship. And each time I'd go to a man of God, he would just want automatically to sleep with me. I'm telling you the truth, I'd look for mentorship, and each time I'd ask a man of God to help me in ministry, it was two things involved. They'd either use me or want to sleep with me. So me, I was not the type that you would just use me. I'd rather come out. All of them. When I say rejection, all of them. Number two, that either reject me because at that time, I wasn't the star that I am. For you guys, you found me, woman of God is already famous. She's influential. It wasn't the case 3 years ago. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew me. I would literally go to, I'd literally go to a church and I'm wearing East Park. I'd literally go to a church when I tell you that people help people that are doing well. Okay? Tina, who were not doing well, who did not have it all, we were not helped. Us who were not driving Range Rovers as women of God, we were not helped. I want to emphasize on the verse that says, the last shall become the what? The first. I remember attending a man of God's conference, a very, very, very profound man of God's conference. He knew I was anointed. Very well. It's not like they don't know. They know very well who you are. But they won't help you. Unless they can benefit. Most of them. Majority. Oh, it's just that us, at that time, we did not meet good ones. Okay? In my case, I'm telling you the truth. If I'm lying, then I'm saying God is a what? A liar. I'm trying to answer something here. When God says the last shall be the what? The first. I remember going to a man of God and asking for mentorship. There was a woman of God. We were 3 of us. That woman of God was doing so well in ministry that her ministry was bigger. Me, at that time, I didn't even have Facebook. Can I have tissue? I didn't even have Facebook. Talk of money. I was the most brokest prophetess. Oh my gosh, and she goes behind me. I was the most brokest prophetess that you could ever come across. That was dusty. Dusty. Okay? So, I remember I went to, it was so painful for me. Rejection for me was so painful that I would be in the worship team serving, because I used to love serving before I became into ministry. I used to love serving. I used to sing. But I was never ever given the mic. I was never ever given the mic to say, lead, do this. But I used to call myself backup singer. Because my job was just backing up people. Every time I would be rejected, I'd ask myself, God, why me? Do you understand? I'd ask myself, God, why me? How would I attend this? They would just make me a backup singer, and yet I could sing. It's not like I couldn't sing, but I was always the last. In everything, I was always the last. So there was this time where I went to a man of God, and we were 3 women of God. The others were driving. The others were driving. I remember this woman of God very well. I think she even right now she talks to me. The other one was driving a very nice car, a Range Rover. And you know, the pain that I felt when they called these women of God, because I'm not going to. I think the life broker said, let's give her a break. So I want to tell you that God is real. And when he says the first shall become the what? The last shall become the first. They would literally usher these women of God, and me, I was in dusty shoes. They would usher these women of God and put them in front. You know those chairs in front, those ones for women, precious, you know those chairs in church. They would put them in front. When I talk about rejection and I talk about God in my life, I remember they ushered them and put them, and the man of God was like, would like to welcome great women of God. You understand? Because they were doing so well. In their ministries, they were doing so well. Not bigger than mine, but okay. You know that capacity, a person can gather 100 people and they call them a woman of God. That was the capacity when I talk about rejection. And I remember I was wearing my dusty shoes. And a man of God called for an altar call. And my shoes were so dusty and so bad. I went to the altar call. He said, not women. I went back and I said, I'm not a woman of God. Then I'm not called. If a man of God can reject me like this, then I'm not called. I went home, I cried. I said, God, when will my time come? I said, when will my time what? Come. I wasn't upset with God. I continued in the same man of God's church. I went and I swept with my dusty shoes. I was prophetess in private. You see that thing, Yakoti? People only call you certain names when they're only with you. I was Prophetess Naise only when he sees me. Prophetess, how are you doing? But when it came to the congregation, I was nothing. I wasn't addressed. Only those that were doing well were addressed. Little did he know the plans of who? Of Yahweh. When I say never, ever, 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 ever look down upon anybody on this life. All those women of God that he honored, some of them, when I say rejection is real, you guys, you do not know what it is to text a person and a person to leave you on blue ticks. I know it. You know what it is to text a man of God and ask for help, and they leave you on blue ticks because you don't drive, you don't sow seed. Your seed is probably 100 rand, and their limit is probably $1,000, whatever. Or they feel like you're not going anywhere in life. I know it. I've been there. So when we talk about rejection, I know as Prophetess Naise, you can't tell me anything about rejection. I know it. And I'm just here to encourage someone that feels like they're rejected. When I say the rejected stone shall become the what? The cornerstone. He's not joking. I saw a lot of men and women of God look down upon, even great men of God, you'd be shocked, that wanted nothing to do with me because God had covered my ministry. He had covered the star. I would go to church with my dusty shoes, yam salaula. Salaula. The next day, I was crying and saying, God, you don't love me. But the next day, I would go to church with my dusty shoes and they still put me in the back seat. As a woman of God, as a prophetess. Today, the same men that were putting me in the back seat are calling me like nobody's. That's why I can never, ever, ever take if I take an invitation from, ask anybody. Prophetess Naise doesn't take invitations. I've never, ever gone on, unless God has spoken mightily upon my life, I'll come to your church. The same men of God that rejected me, looked down upon me, are all up in my face. Are all up in my face. But the question is, when I was nothing, where were you? When I couldn't pull all the crowds that I'm what now? Pulling. When the fame wasn't there. Where were you? So I'm just here to put when I couldn't sow a seed in your church that was of your what do you call it, of your ministry, when I couldn't sow that seed, when I couldn't tithe because I was broke, where were you? God never left me. So I'm just here to tell you that if you feel like you've been rejected, it's okay. It's important for people to laugh. Laughter is part of the what? Of the process. When I started my ministry, the first conference I had was I used to have in conferences, only 3 people would come. I would ask men of God, please come and just help me. At least you are influential. You know, when you ask an influential person, at least people come to the ministry. You understand? Because I looked down so much upon myself because of the way people treated me. And little did I know, I'm here to encourage someone that the rejected stone, that rejected stone in your family will shock you. Amen. The rejected stone shall become the what? The cornerstone. And when it becomes the cornerstone, people won't understand that why did it have to be her? And yet they don't understand that when you were looking for school fees, no one was there to pay your school fees. When you were looking for business money, no one was there to pay or to give you what? Money for capital. But I believe that God sometimes does it deliberately. You know, I feel like God does it deliberately. Why wouldn't someone that has money help you? Why wouldn't someone that is already made it in ministry or what help you? It is because God doesn't want, he doesn't want people to take the what? The glory. Amen. Today, no man of God can stand and say, I made Prophetess Naise. Only God. So sometimes why your family members are rejecting you is because one day you're going to get that job. You will even be the one that is paying their rent. And they won't say, I'm the one who made her. You see, where she's graduated, it is me who paid her school fees. It is me who took her to school. Sometimes God loves his glory. That's why he says, I will never share my glory with any man. So today I'm talking to somebody that feels rejected. Us, the era of blue ticks, we know it. The era of ghosting a person, disappearing, we know it. We are CEOs. We've been there. We've been there. Where you ask a man of God for you ask them, you invite them, and they reply you after 5 days. Okay? We've been there. Where you would ask sons and daughters to help you, and they would go and help men and women of God with money. We've been there. But all I can say is the rejected stone shall become the what? The cornerstone. And I am a typical example that those that are rejected are loved by who? By God. That man of God, even today, he sends me messages saying, my daughter even says that how many people are coming back to say, prophetess, I never knew. Their first thing when they come to me, their first sentence, what is it? I never knew. I never knew that God will lift you this way. I never knew that God will take you somewhere. I never knew that God would take you so high. So I just want you to know that God is covering you. He's covering you because if he can show them who you truly are right now, you won't know who the real ones are. You won't know who the real ones are. If you would show them that you would be in America next year. If you would show them that your ministry is going to be so big. If you would show them that this is going to happen to you, I'm telling you, all of them would be your friend. But the set time for rejection is very important in life. The time for process is very important in life to sever. To sever. You see like a sieve like this. Who's true and who's fake. So that when the lifting comes, you are able to see and sustain yourself. So I'm just here to tell you that you are crying of rejection. I know rejection. I know rejection. I know what it is to be rejected. I know what it is to be looked down upon. And the rejected stone becomes the cornerstone. Out of all the women of God that were putting in front, guess who's making it? The same one that was in the dusty shoes that they were putting in the back seat. And that was me. Even the ushers themselves. You see when, may God curse poverty. You see when you're broke. You see when you're broke. Even the ushers, they would know that this is prophetess, but they would take me to the what? To the back seat. Because they felt that that's where I belong. Only those that can sow powerful seed, that can do this, are the ones that can. The man would literally sometimes, I always tell my daughter, pass me, like not even lay hands on me, pass me by. Not knowing that the ones that he favored were going to remain where they are. And the one that he rejected today is gathering thousands. Not only in Zambia, in South Africa, in Namibia, in Botswana. Talk of Southern Africa, they'll tell you, Prophetess Naise will make sure it is packed. Not Prophetess Naise, but God will make sure it is what? It is packed. Not because I'm smart. Not because I'm beautiful. But because I humbled myself. So I'm here to tell you that God is so good. All the time. Amen. And just know that your time is coming. Your time is coming. I never knew I was going to be famous. I never knew that I was just going to go, just do one. When I tell you that I'm not even showing off. That when you talk about the most influential woman of God in Zambia, unless you're jealous, Prophetess Naise must be included. And yet she was the most rejected woman of God in what? In Zambia. No man of God wanted to mentor me. They all just wanted to just sleep with me, sleep with me, sleep with me, sleep with me, sleep with me. And I couldn't do that. But there was a man that wanted to mentor me. And he made sure that he shows off. And that is God. So it's not like I never wanted mentorship. I did. I followed men of God like I'm crazy in my head for mentorship. At that time, we didn't even have women of God. Some of them they would leave you on blue ticks. Some of them would not reply you at all. Some of them, if they do say, okay, I'll mentor you, they'll say, send me a nice picture. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I'm the most humblest person. I'm telling you. Here, I'm going to whatever, it's a picnic, whatever it is. I can go in a truck. No problem. Liking things, I can like things, yes, makeup, whatever. But when you talk about humility, I'm the most humble woman you'd ever meet. South Africans will tell you that prophetess, when you meet her like any normal person. Two things involved if you want God to lift you. Don't look for it.
Oh, yes.
Don't look for fame. I don't remember any day I looked for what? For fame. Even when blogs would be posting me, I'd literally sit down and say, I don't like it. That's how much I did not like what? Fame, but it came for me. Don't look for it. When I used to go and sweep in that place with my dusty shoes for 5 rand, I would never come in a place and say, I'm what? I'm prophetess. I'm a woman of God. Never. I'd go in there as a servant of what? Of God. Here to serve. And I didn't even know that God will lift me this way. So many people think humility is, how are you? What? No. Humility is seeking God.
Yes.
How many times do you spend in the secret place when nobody's watching? I'm not talking about these prayers of wanting people to see that we're praying. No. I did midnight prayer 3 years in a row. I never missed, not even one day. I would go to the mountain and sleep on the mountain for 3 to 5 days seeking God. That is humility. That's why God says he lifts the what? The humble. Don't look for fame. Don't look for name. God will do the lifting himself. Always tell my daughters that the time you look for it, you tell people wherever you go, you're not even reached where our fathers have reached as men of God. You see, we've got fathers in faith that have reached, eh? Most of them are very humble. Look at all of them that are up there. They are very what? Humble. But we that haven't made it, we already want to be what? Fame. People will seek fame, okay? Everyone thinks ministry, when you've made it in ministry is when you're famous. It's not, ministry is not fame. Ministry is impact. How many lives are you what? Are you touching? How many lives are you changing? That is ministry, not fame. Unfortunately, the Bible says many are called, by a few are what? Are chosen. It's the unfortunate part that not everyone is going to be what? Famous. It's unfortunate that it's not everyone that is going to draw what? Thousands. Because God knows if he can give it to you, we can kiss your toes. Some of you. Ndipo tingavutike. God knows that if this one can be famous, my children can what? Can suffer. He knows who to bless and when to bless. So I'm just here to tell you that the trick to an upliftment is humility. Humility. If you want God to do the lifting, you better be humble and allow process. They cannot be, they can never be a Hannah without a Penina. There has to be people that laugh at you. Yes. Laughing is the process. So I'm just here to tell you that if you feel like you're crying today, you were crying, saying things are not going well for you. You've been rejected, my dear. We've been there. We've done that. But I just want to tell you that the rejected stone shall be the what? The cornerstone. One way or another, God loves the rejected. They might not promote you today at work. It's fine. One day is one day. They might not give you transport money. You've been asking everyone, all your uncles, you've been asking them for what? Transport. I'm asking for transport money. I want to go. They are just giving you excuse after what? Excuse. Time will come where it will what? The circle shall what? It shall rotate. And trust me, they're going to feel so bad that they never helped you when they had the capacity to do what? To help you. So it's okay. I know many people are asking, Prophetess, why is it when I'm not helped? It is part of the process. It is part of the process that will lead us to shock. Okay? So I'm just here to tell you that I'm a very typical example of a rejected stone. And today when I look at my life and I look at sometimes I do look at the inboxes. Some people coming back, I never thought they will come back. That one that you asked money for and she never gave you, they'll come back. That one that you asked for school fees and they never did what? Gave you. They'll do what? They'll come back. That one that you asked for transport money and they never what? Gave you. They'll come back. They come back. They'll come back and they'll be shocked that, is this you? Yes. So sad that people that rejected me now have to stand in a queue to see me. You have to go through my PA to what? To see me. Even great men of God, you just don't access me. Now you need to go through a what? A protocol. Do you understand what I'm saying? So same applies to you. They'll go to that office, they'll find you are the manager. Yeah. They'll go to that office, they'll find that you are the what? You are the manager. And trust me, it's so embarrassing. They will ask for a lift. And they'll find that you are the what? The driver. So I'm just here to tell you that in this life, God loves the rejected. So if you're rejected, just know that Prophetess loves you. And she says, you're not alone. I know it hurts. And I know I'm talking to somebody. I've been rejected in ministry. But look where God has placed me. When I say I did not know where to start in ministry as a young woman, now I'm doing it like a professional. When people come and see me, they say, how does she do it? How does she do it? No one is mentoring me. Unfortunately, no one wanted to mentor me. So I'm just here to tell you that God is real. Not that we don't want to be mentored. We were rejected. We were rejected. Okay? So when I tell you that I was a young woman, I didn't know where to start with ministry. My first conference where God said, I want to use you now. I looked at myself, I said, God, who is going to listen to me? Let me tell you something. When God gives you a grace, he gives you a crowd. He gives you people that are for you. Your relatives won't support you. Your friends won't support you. But he will give you your own what? Audience. My first conference was at Serova. I said, God, who's going to come? I don't know anyone. I'm not famous. I don't even know where to start this thing. And I remember God appeared in a dream and poured oil upon my head and gave me a sword, a golden sword. And at that time, I remember I was in the center of a stadium and the stadium was full. And he said, go to Sarova. I've already prepared people that are supposed to be saved by you. When I went to Sarova, that place was, how many services did we have to have? It was too small. Not for me, but for God. A first timer. Many people had to say, we're going to the government complex. I went to the government complex. I was shivering. I said, God, this hall is so big. People that only come to the government complex are famous men and women, men of God. Big men of God that come there. You can't just be a man of God, and even if you've got grace and just say, I'm going to government complex, you'll be embarrassed. I went there, I looked at the first row, I said, God, I don't even know where to start. Do you want to embarrass me? And God said, remember, it is not you, but it is what? It is me. We came, we prayed with my daughters. Government complex was packed. American Dome, close to 3,000 people in attendance. The rejected stone that wasn't wanted by anybody but God. So I'm just here to tell you that God will do it for you. I know rejection sometimes will make you sit down and feel like, okay, nobody wants to support me, then I feel like I can't do it. Nobody wants to hear me, then I feel like I can't do it. I can't do it. Especially the ones that we love. Okay, this one is not supporting me, which means you feel like giving up. God is going to bring you your people that will love and support you. So I'm just here to tell you that I know you feel rejected, but your time will come. You said that, prophetess said it, that my time will what? Will come. And you'll be a blessing to a lot of people. And you're not going to revenge. You're still going to bless those that did what? Rejected you. We still laugh with the people that rejected us. We do. Even though we know deep in our hearts, it's this one. Left me on what? Blue ticks. 3 years ago. Did not want to help me 3 years ago. Did this to me 3 years ago. We forgive and we forget and we say it was God's will. So I'm just here to tell you again that it's okay. I know exactly what you're feeling right now. But your time will come. And when your time will come, people won't understand. That's why today they call us, hey, she's a Satanist, she's a what, she's a what. Because they don't understand the process. That why did God have to bless her out of all what? Men of God and women of God. The humility. Kylie, you don't know that some of us were cleaning churches, we were sweeping. I used to describe myself as the dust itself of the church because that church didn't even have a thing. It was a gravel. You understand? So when you sweep the church, the gravel automatically comes on your what? On your shoes. But it was a preparation. It was a preparation for the great assignment. So your rejection and whatever you're going through is a preparation. So if you think you know me, you don't know me. You just see me on Facebook. She's famous, she's what. You don't know my process. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know the fires that I've passed for me to be where I am. But one of the biggest fire was rejection. So, let me block this wheelie guy. I'm bored, yes. So that's all I wanted to. I know I touched someone today, and I know someone is motivated. And I know I have now answered the question here, Kuti, who's mentoring her? Well, it's not like we didn't want to be mentored. We wanted to be what? Mentored, but we were rejected. Unfortunate part, maybe because of our grace, or I don't know. Only God knows. So I'm here to tell you that I love you so much, and God bless you. Always remember, when someone rejects you, the rejected stone shall become the what? The cornerstone. So have a good day, and God bless you.